Hello, my name is Ray, and this is Calvin.
Calvin! I get to say my own name.
And this is our take on the Turkish independence movement.
Between 1919 and 1923.
The Turkish War of Independence was caused by the Allies partitioning the Ottoman Empire,
Of which the Turkish nationalists would not stand for.
so they decided to protest against Great Britain, France, and Greece, and other countries, better known as the Allies.
Furthermore, the Turkish nationalists developed the Grand National Assembly in 1920.
So that they could abolish the old Sultanate.
This parliament can be referred to as Meclis, and it was believed that to protect the country, a governing body would need to be created, such as the
Grand National Assembly.
And Ataturk was the leader of this national movement.
Wait, who is Ataturk?
Good question. Ataturk, meaning father of the Turks, was a name given to Mustafa Kemal, who during the Ottoman Empire's time was an army commander. Not only was he a president of Turkey, he was the first president of Turkey, and he was also the head of the Turkish national movement.
Huzzah!
Education was made free and compulsory by law, while he also built thousands of new schools and decreased taxation on the poor. The principles of his reform are known as Kemalism.
However, there were some obstacles in his journey, and this all began with the Conference of London in 1920. Britain, France, and Italy met to discuss the partitioning of the Ottoman Empire, and negotiated the terms of the Treaty of Sevres, which would later be signed.
The Treaty of Sevres is a peace treaty between the Ottoman Empire and the Allies of World War I, which was similar to the Treaty of Versailles. The Allies, mainly France, Britain, and Italy, had been secretly partitioning the Ottoman Empire since 1915. The terms include reducing the empire's military to 50,700 men, as well as many other restrictions. The treaty also distributes a lot of the previous Ottoman Empire's territories, zones of influence, among the Allied powers. Also, it allows the Allies to take control of the Ottoman Empire's finances.
So let's talk about the geography of Turkey. Thrace and Anatolia are the areas where the Turkish national movement occurred, and thus are the areas that became what is now Turkey. Thrace is the area west of Istanbul and east of Greece. Anatolia is most of Turkey today. And this was all caused by the Amasya Circular, which was considered to be the first document to put the Turkish independence movement in motion. The Amasya Circular was distributed in Anatolia, and it stated that a national conference should be held in Sivas. And this would lead to war with Greece.
Oh my god! It's an enemy! In the east. After the surrender of the Ottomans to the Allies, the Armenians from the east came in and occupied the crumbling Ottoman Empire. Both the Armenians and the Turks believed that they had a historic claim to the region of what now today is eastern Turkey. Yerevan, the Armenian capital, sent troops to occupy this region. The Turkish fought, and the Armenians lost the support of the Western powers. The Armenians lost the war because of the Western powers' withdrawal of their support. The Allies withdrew the support because the war dragged on for approximately a year. The Turkish fought and pushed the Armenians back and forced them to sign a peace treaty, the Treaty of Alexandropol, which created peace between the Turks and the Armenians.
In Soviet Russia, the treaty signs you! Anyways, next came the Western conflict and the Southern conflict. The Southern conflict lasted from May of 1920 to 1921. The Southern conflict involved the French, the Armenians, and the Turkish nationalists. It's important to note that in 1916, the French had an agreement with the Armenians that stated that the Armenian forces would fight under the French army. The French wanted influence of the Sicilian region because the Allies had previously agreed with France that they would gain that territory as a zone of influence. Also, they wanted Syria. Similarly, the Armenians wanted to take over their homeland in Eastern Asia Minor, which happened to be Turkey. So, the French agreed to support the Armenians in the Armenian national movement. So the Turkish nationalists were in a bit of trouble because they were against two countries. But they had help from the Arab tribe. And with the help from them, the resistance by the Turkish national movement forces were enough to fend off the French. The French ended withdrawing and signed the Treaty of Ankara in October 1921 with the Grand National Assembly of Turkey. The Treaty of Ankara stated that the French recognized the end of Sicilia War in return for Turkey recognizing sovereignty of French Mandate of Syria. While all of this was happening in the south, there was a conflict in the west. Known as the Western Conflict or the Greco-Turkish War, the war between Greece and Turkey lasted from 1919 to 1922. Greece launched the campaign because it was promised some of the partitioned territories by the Allies. However, the Greeks soon found out that the Turkish nationalists were too much, and it resulted in the defeat of Greece and caused them to retreat. And this allowed the Turkish nationalists to reestablish the pre-war borders.
Huzzah!
At the same time, the Treaty of Sevres was abandoned because both Greece and France failed to take control of Anatolia.
The Armistice of Modena is a peace treaty that was signed by Britain, Italy, France, and eventually Greece that assented to peace with Turkey. The Allies were allowed to occupy the forts along the Straits of the Dardanelles, the Bosphorus, and Constantinople before they left. The terms of the treaty included that Greek forces were to withdraw within 15 days. Civil power would become Turkish in 30 days after they leave, so the Turkish could take over after the Greeks leave in the 15 days. And no more than 8,000 Turkish gendarmes, or military forces with police duties, were to be in the East Thrace until the treaty was completed. So Turkey couldn't have excessive amounts of personnel in Eastern Thrace until the treaty was completed. And the British wanted Eastern Thrace, as well did the Turkish prior to this agreement, but did not want to fight another war, so they abandoned Eastern Thrace to the Turkish.
So it was a compromise between the multiple countries to establish peace.
The Treaty of Lausanne. This is the treaty that replaced the Treaty of Sevres and officially ended the conflict between Turkey and the Allies, and was signed in Lausanne, Switzerland on July 24, 1923. It rejected the previous treaty, the Treaty of Sevres, and established the borders of Turkey today. Those who signed include the Kingdom of Greece, the Kingdom of Italy, the French Republic, the Empire of Japan, British Empire, the Kingdom of Romania, and the Serb-Croat Slovene state. Turkey gave up claims to the Dodecanese Islands, Cyprus, and several other territories, previously under the control of the Ottoman Empire to the Allies. So basically, the Ottoman Empire historically owned these territories, but Turkey assented to give them away to the Allies. The last nation to ratify this treaty was Britain on July 16, 1924. And This treaty officially came into force in August 6th, 1924, when the instruments of ratification were deposited in Paris.
The instrument of ratification is basically
A validation of a document such as the Treaty of Lausanne, and it validates it by putting a formal assentation or signature on a document. Huzzah!